Hey guys, this is going to be episode 8 of the Take That L podcast. Today is going to be a little bit lower energy, but we got some controversies and upcoming games that we kind of want to talk about. Steam's got this new event that we want to really introduce to you guys where you can see some of the upcoming indie games that are really cool to look at. Maybe some live streams you want to check out. But make sure, guys, if you like our content, that you leave a comment on our YouTube because if you have an upcoming game that you're really hyped about and you want us to talk about, just leave a comment down there and we'll make sure to look and check it out in the future. But let's kick it off again with Curtis this time. You got anything new for us this week?
Yeah, hi guys. We got something kind of exciting too. With the Marvel Avengers, we know that they stopped production on that. They're not really releasing any more games. So it's kind of questioning if that franchise is going to keep going since we did have Guardians of the Galaxy. I believe it was Midnight Suns is another one that was recently released. But we have something to look forward to now. We noticed that Iron Man has been put into production. The EA Motive worked endlessly on Dead Space Remake, and they now have a little bit of time before starting their next project. So we have the same people that are worked on the Dead Space Remake are now going to work with EA for the new Iron Man game, which is kind of cool because Dead Space I thought was a pretty good hit. The Dead Space devs wrote that we have an amazing team at Motive, and we're started working on the Iron Man, and rest assured that it's in great hands. So kind of nice to see. It's supposed to be a third-person action game, so maybe it'll be kind of like a Batman Arkham-style kind of game, which would be pretty cool. I wonder what you guys think about it.
Is Robert Downey Jr. the voice actor?
No, they said it's going to be something that'll remain fairly close to the normal voice lines and everything, but I doubt it's really going to be Robert Downey Jr. But
yeah, they're not showing
hopefully
up
it's
20
something
mil to have
similar.
him voice over a video game.
Yeah, right.
Shot.
I was gonna say, as long as they have
Iron Man.
as long as they have the personality of Tony Stark in Iron Man, where he's kind of like a dick playboy millionaire, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, they said in the statement too that they're aiming to keep that what do you call it? Like the persona of Iron Man, where it's like that classic kind of the rich kind of guy that does whatever he wants because he's smart as hell and can do whatever. But
Yeah.
I know that with all the layoffs and everything, I believe EA was kind of subject to some stuff too, but they're totally hiring right now. They got a bunch of applications out for all the software developers, AI developers, and designers for the game. So it kind of wonders how long it's going to be if they're looking for help. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of excited for this one because I think, again, one of the issues with the Avengers game was that there were so many characters to design around, and it's difficult to just build a game around many different play styles. So, like if you're trying to play the same map and you can play any character, you can't necessarily build like specific game functions for like around a specific character's play style. So I'm hoping with like an Iron Man specific game, like they can really dive into that, play style and kind of what makes sense not only from like a character functionality standpoint, but then also mission story and really dive in there as opposed to trying to do it all and have every single character and kind of just capitalize off of the entire Marvel IP. But have they released any like release date information or even like any estimates of like the overall year that
it was in
release?
It was in pre-development around September of last year, and now they just stated that they're beginning like the full-fledged development for the game. So, like I said, with the applications coming out, they probably have a pretty long time before it. But kind of just keep an eye out for any news coming up. I think it'd be kind of cool to have almost like another Spider-Man game. I know I kind of referenced it to Batman, but
Yeah.
It'd be kind of like just imagine flying around. I mean, it could be the same city too, but I'm curious what kind of environment they're going to put him in.
Yeah, and that's a great analogy in terms of like a good game that is designed around a single hero as opposed to again trying to.
I like how
everything in one.
precarious it is every time we bring up something Marvel or DC related. It just requires one push for us to go on like a 2-hour talking spree about the MCU or something. But yeah, no, I think that as long as it's not bargain bin Iron Man, it could be a really, really cool
Oh
game.
yeah, kind of flying around. Just tell Jarvis to open up my launch pad on my tower, fly into my house, and I just control whatever the hell I want. Send out drones. I think that'd be pretty cool. Maybe we'll have like the first Avengers type of style, but through Tony Stark's eyes or something like that, doing side missions. That'd be cool.
Given any inclination on what the story is going to be about, like, or what part of like the Iron Man like story arc it's going to be based
Yeah,
on?
I was wondering what the villains were going to be.
Oh, yeah.
They haven't said too much anymore. Basically, all they really released was just having the creative genius of Tony Stark and making them feel like they're playing Iron Man, but they don't have
Really
any,
makes
like,
you
further
feel like Iron
details.
Man.
Dude, that's important, man. That's if it doesn't
I
feel,
know, it's
if
just
it
a
doesn't
funny
feel
thing
good,
whenever that's
I know.
included in an article. It's like, oh, this game really makes you feel like the Avengers.
Yeah, right here. I'll quote EA for you right here. They said, with the third-person action-adventure game with an original narrative that taps into the rich history of Iron Man, channeling the complexity, charisma, and creative genius of Tony Stark to enable players to feel what it's like to truly play as Iron Man.
Honestly, I think it'd be hilarious if it's just like a GTA style where you can just be absolute bitch to everybody.
And it's got multiplayer, so you have like 100 Iron Mans in one server, just
Yeah.
duking it out.
That'd be sick.
Absolutely fucking chaos. But
Well, I think, like I said, I'm interested in that. Let's hope it becomes quality. But moving on to another new game in the works here. It's actually been delayed a couple of times, and I know that some of us have played the first game, Sons of the Forest. I hear that they're actually going to stick to the date that they delayed it back to, which is February 23rd. I know that that initial delay was actually quite a decent bit of time, a couple months, right?
yeah, I mean, it was supposed to come out sometime at the end of last year, so it's been delayed a few months already. So hopefully,
So yeah, what I've heard now is that they're going to be releasing it on that date, but it's going to be in early access, so it's not going to be a finished game when it comes out on the 23rd.
I guess I might my question around that is like how early access is it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I mean, for like me and Connor that have been playing Valheim for how long, and Valheim's been in early access for a pretty long time. So, I mean, it's nice to see these games letting you play so they can test it out a little more, but it sucks when you don't have like an idea of when the full game's going to come out. So it's almost like you're wasting time playing, just waiting for the additional content to come in, which is how me and Connor kind of were with the Mistlands, where we just kind of restarted with Valheim, and it's like they're still working on it, so it's like you're stuck in the middle of that point if you really want to play it or you just want to wait.
Yeah, I guess the difference there is that Valheim doesn't necessarily have like an over like a total story arc to it. It's just like kind of boss based and kind of advancement and survival based. Like there's not an actual like true story to it versus like the Forest where your plane crashes and you're trying to get off it. You're trying to find people and stuff like that. So like, are they going to have the entire story done at release and then they're just going to add more game functionality in over the course of whatever it was, the 6, 8, 12 months that's going to be in like continue to be in development, or like
developers
again, I'm like curious as.
Yeah, the developers mentioned that nothing about the story, but they did say that there's going to be a lot of functional things like items and mobs and stuff that they're wanting to add later on. I think a good early access game is probably a year or two out of development. Like, I think that's when that should be finished, either a year or two, because Subnautica was in development for quite a long time in early access, and people were just making videos left and right on the early access, and that was okay, because if you wanted to know more about the game, you could, or you could avoid them, and then you can just come back to the game when it's actually released, and then it turned out to be a really, really good product at the end. But I don't know if I can say that for every single time that this happens. So it's like a 50-50 type of trust where you have to figure out if the company making the game is worth that trust.
Yeah, the first one was really good. Again, the first game was pretty buggy. Like, I don't know if buggy is the right word, but like
7 Days to Die buggy.
It wasn't nearly that bad. Like that was terrible. But The Forest is a good game. We played it a lot for probably like 2-3 weeks with a few of us, and I'm just excited to play it again. There's just like good times that you kind of have in like that kind of survival based server with your friends, where it's setting up traps for all the different mobs, and finding new ways to survive, building your base, all that good stuff. And it doesn't quite progress.
Those inner
as
psycho
fast.
killer tendencies.
We did set up.
Yeah, just wait until Noah's had enough of the game, and he'll. Once Noah's had enough of the game, you might want to make sure friendly fire is turned off if that's going to be a thing.
I get bored. I just want to play PvP, man. I don't know. He's referring to we were playing 7 Days to Die, and I got bored one night, and I just started throwing spears at him until I killed him.
Same thing goes with PUBG. Oh, you know what? We're not winning this game. I'm bored. Turns around. Okay, no, you could have left. No.
Man, I wanted it.
Dude, those survival games, man, all of a sudden you just get like this intuition that you need to troll the person that you're surviving with. You're like, I need to go mess around with their like inventory and stuff, or I need to set up like in Minecraft. You remember when I'd spent like a few full days just trying to booby trap the front of you guys' bases with like sand traps with explosives?
Did Curtis ever find out who blew up his basement?
That, and who gave me like 100,000 chickens inside of my house, and I couldn't
actually
walk.
Don't think I did that one.
Okay, do you know who did that one, Curtis?
Thought it was you.
Oh yeah, it definitely was. Both of them.
Yeah.
I don't remember what he did, but I like.
It was lagging so fucking bad, and I couldn't move.
Dude.
I walked in, and it was just block at like 100 times, and I couldn't hear anything.
Dude, I spawned so many chickens with like all the different eggs that we had, because we had like an absurd chicken farm for like the XP farming, and then I just took like 4 chests of chicken eggs over and popped them all in his house. And then I
think it was because I started putting them in your house.
Yes,
because I know where to put the eggs, so I just started filling up all your chests.
That's exactly what it was. And then I took it to the extreme and started breeding them, and then he had an entire like to the point where you couldn't walk in there. But anyway,
yeah.
Do those do the traps in Sons of the Forest? Can you set them off as like a player?
Yes.
So they can hurt you.
Yes.
Walk into your own bear trap.
Curtis wakes up in Sons of the Forest, walks out of his front door, gets hit with like a deadfall trap.
No,
just
it's one of
two
those
big logs just come down and smash him.
The log spike coming from the tree to nail me back into the house.
I mean, there's traps like that in at least the first Forest game, so I'm hoping they...
Dude, it's just a prank, bro.
Throw ragdoll physics in there.
They had like a trap where there was like a noose, basically. Except it,
interesting.
It didn't function as a noose though. Like if one of like the human
a leg trap, like it pulls them from the leg and strings them up.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So then they would just hang by their feet, so you could execute them that way. But
yeah, it's a common hunting trap that they used to use back in the day.
Yeah,
Connor would make a good pinata, man.
So, was there a story in the first Forest game? And, like, is this sequel continuing on that story? Or is it just, like, a whole new set of people? Like, how is this going to be better than the first one?
I'm honestly not sure, because I never actually fully finished it. We kind of just treated it as a survival game. We never actually did, like... Because you can do both. We finished by, like, 3/4 of the story, so I'm not exactly sure how it ends. It's been, like, 2 or 3 years.
I remember watching a little bit of it.
Yeah, but there is a story.
Kind of like Grounded?
No.
Yes, sort of.
I wouldn't say so, just because.
Are you saying gameplay-wise or story-wise?
Story-wise, where you can do survival, but to advance a little bit more, you kind of have to do the quests.
No, I don't think I honestly think you advance all that much in the Forest when you do the story. It's more just like discovery and
it's location
story advancement versus the Grounded. Like doing the story functionally helps you survive.
Yeah, there's no story gating on the resources in the Forest.
Yeah,
that I remember.
Okay. No,
because the game looks. I'm really excited for it. So,
yeah, we'll definitely be giving that a playthrough. Probably end of February at some point or early March, depending on when it comes out, obviously. But I'm excited.
Well, that's the thing we did. We did the same thing with Grounded, where we waited until you guys didn't even know about it, and then I mentioned it only when I knew it was coming out of early access. Yeah. Because like if we played that one too early, I don't think I would have enjoyed it nearly as much as I did.
That's true.
That's fair. Yeah.
Out of it.
But now it's to the point where I'm like, I'm so excited for the sequel. I'm not willing to wait 2 years to wait for it, or however long it's going to be.
Dude, the weird thing is like the moment you say, okay, I'm just not going to buy it, it goes completely out of your mind until like the first rendition of the game out of early access comes out. You're like, the moment it's out of early access, I'll buy it. Not right now. All of a sudden, you forget about it, and then you hear about it 2 years later, and be like, oh, hey, it's out of early access now.
Well, I feel like all of us have to kind of make that commitment, because if like 2 people buy it or 3 people buy it, it's like, oh man, this game's awesome. Then everyone's gonna have to cave and buy it.
True.
But
play it twice
yeah.
and then drop it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seems to be a trend.
It does seem to be a trend. Give it a
No
good like
mathematician.
8 to 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours of gameplay. 2 or 3 nights in a row, and then
This game's kicking my ass. I'm done.
sometimes it is. It's that way, man. Sometimes it is what it is. But yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to chat about Sons of the Forest? I feel like we don't know anything about this game yet, so it's like tough to necessarily talk about it, except that it's supposed to come out at some point this month.
Yeah, I'll say hype. I don't know if I'm going to do it because it's a 4-man. I'm assuming you guys already got 4 people.
I don't think we've established who's got it or who's going to get it. I'm hoping they have more than 4 people. I don't know if they like for sure established that it's only a 4-player game.
I don't
know.
know. I'd have to check in on that.
Okay,
I haven't played the
hopefully
first
we find
one,
out soon.
but I mean, I'd be happy to play the second one if you guys need players, but
Same.
Yeah, I want to play it. That's for sure.
okay.
We can also have a few lobbies going, but I know it's more fun if we can have like 8 people on the server.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm hyped.
Well,
I'm hyped for it. We'll see how it goes. But
it says in the-
no, you had. Oh, sorry, Curtis. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, it says in the early access notes on the Steam page that they plan to be in early access for around 6 to 8 months, but obviously that can change too, so.
Yeah, that means 2 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was like, well, I thought this was supposed to come out in November, or October, so I don't really believe them on their 6 to 8 months, but we'll see.
Yeah, I know we can move on here. I know Noah wanted to talk a little bit about the new Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, so I know we've been talking about this game a lot over the last really 2 months because it's been a pretty exciting game for us. But they did finally release some gameplay on IGN. This I think it was just today actually.
Yeah.
It was like 9 minutes of gameplay. It didn't necessarily like show an entire mission or anything like that. It was kind of just like video clips from different parts of the story and I think parts of one mission. But I just looked like a few things that I thought were super super interesting. I don't think you guys have watched it yet, but. Like they do have like pretty dynamic like combat styles, and I think this is something that they reported was going to be in the game, but I think we're just seeing it now for the first time. But you can have like the single lightsaber, like the standard like Jedi like combat style. Then they have like the dual lightsabers, and they have like the double-sided like Darth Maul style lightsaber. They all seem to have super unique like combat styles. Like there's different ways to throw them, and they're like all in different arcs. There's different like types of moves. We haven't seen like the full skill trees or anything like that yet for the game, but just from the gameplay I was able to watch, like you can definitely tell there's a uniqueness to it. Unless it's like just random, I'll be kind of pissed if it's just random and doing like cool moves randomly. And you don't necessarily have to go over it. I'll be kind of pissed about that.
If I can hop in there, being a big Star Wars nerd, is it actually lightsaber styles, as in like because there's 7 styles that Jedi use?
Yeah.
Is it those, or is it more like Ghost of Tsushima, where it's just like, okay, if your enemy has a shield, you use water stance to break their shield, that kind of thing?
No, it's not. So I don't think it's the 7 lightsaber style, or like lightsaber combat styles. So I don't think it's like true like combat styles, but like there's 3 different types of weapons you can use. All of them have unique fighting styles. Is how I should put it, I guess.
So
like
more
the
like a Dark Souls or Elden Ring type, where it's like you pick up a weapon and it's got its own moveset.
Yes. Yeah, I think, but you can actually switch between them dynamically. So you can switch between having a single one and like then splitting it, or you can put them back together, or you can just use the one.
Gotcha.
So you can like switch between them pretty regularly. I would almost compare it to God of War, where you have the Leviathan axe, the chains, and then the spear.
The drop near spear.
Yeah,
But you'd be able to switch the abilities between them.
correct. Like you can use them pretty regularly, and there's a few clips where they're using multiple different combat styles. But the game does also look awesome from the mission they were showing. Again, that might just be like the best like scenery that the story has to offer. But from what we were able to see in like the one clip, everything they look pretty awesome.
It is gameplay, right?
Yes, it's actual gameplay.
Yeah, it's not pre-rendered.
No, it's not cinematic at all.
I'm watching
we know
it right
where
now.
that went with No Man's Sky.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
yeah. I'm watching the video Noah put in our document. It actually looks pretty cool. Basically, it's like he was saying with the Darth Maul lightsabers, you literally connect them, and then you can do the dual fighting style, or you just take them apart and then fight like that. So I'm wondering if it's going to have a separate skill tree like God of War.
Yep.
So that I think that would be pretty cool.
That's what I'm expecting.
But like tossing different like specials or anything like that, I could see.
Yeah, because like they have like a pretty unique, or like I think from what I remember the game, again, it's been like a year and a half since I played the first game, but they definitely seem to have like different ways of using the Force in this one. Like you can use it like on the environment, so you can actually use things around the environment to like attack or defend yourself. You can use it on enemies directly. You can use it to like throw the lightsaber and bring it back. I'm sure that's just part of the skill tree. You can even use it like a stealth takedown. So if there's like a droid sitting next to a cliff, you can just fucking shove them off and goodbye. Game over for them. But no, overall, I'm like pretty excited about it. And then like one other thing that I noticed, which is like a super tiny detail, is that like after you like strike an enemy that's like not like a one hit. So like let's say you're fighting a larger boss, the lightsaber strikes actually like show up on the character model that you're fighting. So you can actually like, see your strikes like damaging them. It's a super small detail, but it just like immerses you more in the game, and kind of like not only do you see like the health bar going down, but you can actually like see them taking more damage, like just with like all the different like lightsaber streaks on their character. So
It's
Lego
sick.
Star Wars did it first.
What's that?
Lego Star Wars did it first.
Right. Yeah. Again, it's not overly difficult or complicated or groundbreaking, but it's nice to have. Like I feel like if it was missing, it'd be just one of those things where you're like, man, this isn't immersing me. Like this combat doesn't feel right. But no, I'm pretty excited about it. I guess, are you guys planning on picking this game up, or how do you guys feel about all the different Star Wars stuff coming out about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's got me excited about it just based on the stuff you've been saying. And I actually have the first one on Steam. I bought it like a few weeks back for like $7, but I just had
Yeah,
to
it was on sale a
find the
couple
time
times.
to play it. I'm still trying to get through Spider-Man, the first one, and so I just feel like there's like a long list of games that I want to get through that I'm really excited about, but it's just having the time to do so. And also, I want to play League like most of the time, so that's also another reason.
Shit.
It seems to me like a lot of these story-based games, for me, like I always say, it's the YouTube watch-through game. So
I don't know how you can do
interested
that.
in how the story goes, but I don't know if I'll necessarily buy it.
Okay, I get that.
That's
Like, I know you're big on the walkthroughs, so I mean, it's going to be one of those games where I don't think it's going to be necessarily like identical to God of War in that sense, but or as good. But I think the combat's going to be a lot of fun, which is more what I'm excited for necessarily than the story.
Yeah, very cool.
I'm hyped for vicariously living through someone else playing it.
Yeah, right.
God. Yeah, I think we can move on probably if anybody else has anything to say. I know,
good.
Tusha, you wanted to talk about the future of DC under James Gunn and what it's kind of looking like.
Yeah, so I'm gonna stray away from games at the moment, and I'm gonna bring up a topic that we've discussed a few times as a group of friends, but I just wanted to hear your own opinions because I know all of us have different opinions and how we see the future of DCU as of right now. I know me personally, I'm really excited. I'm excited not only because it's finally like under one or two people, but because it's gonna be a long universe. Whereas I feel like DCEU, they had like Zack Snyder making most of the movies and like other directors making the movies, but it never felt like a concise universe to me. And obviously Marvel and DC, they're always gonna be like butting heads at each other, and they're gonna want to copy each other, their strengths and all the weaknesses they're gonna try to improve on. And so, what I'm most excited about, the project I'm most excited about is I have two of them. So it's Lanterns, which is going to be a big HBO Max TV show. and James Gunn described it as like a True Detective kind of story. If you guys have seen True Detective, it's like one of the greatest TV shows out. The
I
one with
haven't.
Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson. That's like my favorite season of True Detective. And so he compared it to that, which makes me really excited because just like that gritty, down to earth tone using like Green Lanterns, I feel like that'd be super dope. And then the other one I'm excited about is Superman because I feel like Superman is the bread and butter of DCU, and if that movie sucks, then I'm gonna lose hope for all of the DC universe. But if that movie's decent or at least good, then it makes me really excited. So, what do you guys have to
So
say?
that's kind of where you said the DCU is really kicking off. Like that's where it really starts because they're going to use the Flash movie, which we all hate, is still a thing.
Yeah, they need to get rid of Ezra Miller, man. They cleaned house and then kept the worst one out of them all.
Well, it doesn't help that he said it was going to be one of the best superhero films of all time, which who knows? It could be. It hasn't come out yet, but I'm going to place my bets right here and say it's going to be pretty fucking bad. But no, I'm interested to see what happens with this. I don't know how they haven't necessarily like explained how it's all connected yet, but I also don't feel like they have the answers because again, he's only been there for 3 months.
Right.
It still feels really disjointed to me. Like none of these have an obvious fit together, which again doesn't have to, but if you're making a universe, kind of has to.
Yeah, I would rather have Grant Gustin as the new Flash for the movies.
The man's gonna be like 45 by the time they actually build this universe. So
I mean, you guys already know what I think. I think I have literally nothing but hot takes on every single thing that DC is going to be going forward. But I think the biggest thing is that the burnout that we've seen from Marvel, think about how that's going to impact DC.
Yeah, they need to start. I think if they get out some bangers, dude, that'll change the tide a little bit. I mean, Black Adam was. I mean, I know we talked about that last podcast, but I mean, Black Adam. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't the best. And them kind of canceling that off right away, it just kind of don't know. I don't know where it's gonna go.
Well, they have Shazam 2 coming out in the next few months, right? And that's still part of like their DC universe.
Yeah,
Like, they're keeping the Shazam side of things the way it is, from my understanding.
So basically, all the movies that were in production before James Gunn stepped in as the CEO or co-CEO of the DCU, they're still going to be released. So Shazam 2,
That's not true.
Shazam 2, or like in production, as in like the filming has mostly been done because they're just not going to scrap like hours and hours of film just
They
because
scrapped Catwoman when it was done. It was a fully done. They trashed it after it was done. It was
You
fully
mean
done.
Batwoman?
That's what I meant. Sorry.
I was confused. I'm like, I don't think they ever made a Catwoman movie recently.
No,
Well, that's because that
Batwoman.
movie is straight dog.
How do you know? It never got released.
Just-
They literally
I don't
filmed
know.
it and did post production. They said we're not releasing it.
So I mean, that's like the only exception. But like the main ones, like Shazam 2, Aquaman 2. I'm actually really excited for Blue Beetle. That one's supposed to be coming out this year, and Flash. Like those are still considered like the DCEU because it was under that brand, but they're gonna have to be released this year. And so, like you said before, Superman is gonna be like the main restart of the DCU, and so that's just how I'm gonna picture or how I'm gonna envision the DCU being forward is after Superman is released.
Oh yeah. Well, he did already say that basically the Flash is resetting the universe, which is something we predicted a while ago, and so did a lot of people. Which is like the only reason why I feel like they haven't canned that movie, because if it wasn't as important to the overall story arc of the entire universe,
Yeah.
then they probably would have trashed it with all the bad press that Ezra Miller's got.
Yeah,
Hey,
and
real quick, there are
but-
rumors that there's going to be a Flash 2, by the way. It's already been written.
No, there's not.
huh? Well,
I looked it up, and there are a lot of rumors saying that, one, it's confirmed that they have written a sequel already. And two, there's another rumor that Ezra Miller might be staying as the Flash for the second.
Well,
I feel like we should take that as a grain of salt. We don't know anything until it's
Same.
confirmed, but
It is
I don't
confirmed
know.
that they have written a sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says it's already written. I'm probably looking at the same thing here, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I did also want to mention. I know we were talking about the scrapping of Batwoman or whatever it was, and they hit almost $90 million of spending and then scrapped
Jesus.
it. So I
They
mean,
spent 90 mil and just said, nope, we're just basically calling that.
so it was
a loss.
basically $90 million thrown in the dumpster. So
Yep.
DC is wild, man.
That sounds like DC movies, yeah.
Yeah, well, they didn't even try to get any money for it. They just canceled it right out the bat.
All right,
I
going
guess
back
it's
though,
about the-
I wanted to talk a little bit about like lanterns and Superman.
Okay.
I think lanterns could be interesting, okay? If it's done right. I don't necessarily think down to earth when I think of the Green Lantern Corps. I think of the dudes flying around in green spandex with the power rings, summoning a baseball mitt to catch people in the air. But it could be interesting. Superman, though, I am very doubtful of it being good. Very doubtful. Because
Why is that?
Henry Cavill, to me, was the perfect Superman. I do not believe James Gunn's writing style will complement Superman. There's just something about the way he writes movies that I do not think it will make a good Superman movie. That's just my take on it, though. It could be like one of the best things ever.
I think it's
You
incredibly
guys already know.
dependent on
I told you
casting.
to quote me if it's bad.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's dependent on who they cast, because again, it will be compared to Henry Cavill. Even though like Man of Steel, when it came out, it wasn't like a highly rated movie. It didn't do well in the box office. Like there's a lot of shit around that when it first came out, but it aged very, very well. Like that movie still like holds up relatively well today. So I don't know. I feel like as long as they get the casting right,
Yeah.
and then more importantly, the writing's good.
I don't even know who you can replace Henry Cavill with, to be honest.
I feel like they have to go with their lesser name actor, just like a nobody,
Yeah.
and bring him in. Just like how Henry
Yep.
Cavill was like a no-namer before he was Superman, and now he's like casting all these really good movies. So I also feel like the main reason James Gunn didn't want to cast Henry Cavill back is because he's getting old. And I know James Gunn wants like this whole DCU to last like what 8-10 years, even longer than that. And so
I'm sure it's way longer.
like having a new Superman, like a younger Superman, that just makes sense to me. Like Henry Cavill will not be doing this in his 50s and 60s. He's
Yeah.
like what 40 something now. So that's another.
I mean, look
He's
at
still in his 30s, but-
look at Mission Impossible. How long Tom Cruise has been going?
Well, Tom Cruise
Yeah.
is a fucking alien, man. Like the only one that is
I don't
doing
know.
that shit.
I don't know if
Really
age, I
hanging
mean-
outside of
I mean,
planes.
I understand that, but like, how far in the future are they going with Superman in particular? Like, is it going to be like Superman 25, the quest for the geriatric cane? Like, I don't understand like how far you could possibly take Superman's line. He goes the origin, some major event like the death of Superman, and then some major event like the Justice League. But past the Justice League and maybe like the Dark Side events that happen all the time, you can't really take any further. That's like 5 or 6 movies at most. What are you going to take past that point in a new DC? Is he going to be like some cameo on the next Suicide Squad 60? Like, I don't.
I agree with you
I
on
have
that
a feeling
one.
they're gonna make Superman's character like the MCU's Iron Man, where he's like the leader for the longest time, and they're gonna like kill him off in like 20 years or however
That's not
long.
his role in DC ever.
I feel like he's
Yeah.
always there because he can't die, and so it's hard for him to like just write him out as a character.
Not that he's not a leader, but I'm saying like Batman's always been like the
Yeah,
actual
Batman's-
core leader of the
True.
Yeah.
Justice League. And
I'd say it's
just
like
about every other-
it really is like a tied between Superman and Batman for lead. Like, they usually lead in equal parts. Like, Superman's the moral leader, and Batman is
Yes.
like the tactical leader,
Strategic, yeah.
like getting things done. And then you have people like Martian
Wonder Woman.
Manhunter to kind of like coordinate the teams and stuff, and then Flash being like the youngest naivete, or Shazam. So I think it really does require all of the characters to be fleshed out
Definitely.
to have a true leadership of the Justice League.
Yeah, and that was the issue with the first one, is that they never fleshed any characters out. They tried to all do that in 20 minutes apiece. So
Yeah.
no, yeah, I'm again. We'll see.
I find it hilarious that they just tried to bring in Cyborg because he's like got the motherboard or mother box stuff going on. You're like, okay, he's a founding member of the Justice League now. Yeah, throw him in there, whatever.
We need him for this time, so let's do it. I'm not going to poo-poo it. I think I don't know how you guys feel about the Batman. I feel like 2029 is a long time to wait for like Batman to be introduced. Like that's 4 years after. I think it's 2029,
keep
right?
the same actor.
I'm not they haven't released a date for the new Batman, The Brave and the Bold, but
I'm almost positive they did in James Gunn's video.
Oh, was
like,
it?
I'm positive he said 2029, or it's like very late 2020s.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but how are you going to keep any actor on for that long? Ever? Iron Man only stayed on for how many years? Until he was done?
10.
He was there pretty long, yeah.
Yeah, 10. And
12,
he's
something like that.
an exception because he was one of the most like critically liked
Yes.
of all the hero people who got hired on. So how are you going to keep people who get mixed reviews? Like when actors see those mixed reviews come in for some of these movies, which will be bad, some of them will be bad, there's no escaping that, they are just going to quit and you're going to have to recast. So what's the point of not having Henry Cavill on if you could just recast him in the future?
Well, my point's less about like them getting old because again they don't have to. I guess Batman's not coming out till 2029. You don't have to cast him until 2026 or 2027. It's more about okay, Superman's coming out in 2025. That's 4 years in between Superman and Batman getting introduced into your DCU.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a long gap to have your two like core characters being introduced.
Yeah.
Again, it comes back to like the connectivity of it. I just don't see it. And then they have this like, the what is it? The one around. Why can't I think of it? Around the Wonder Woman. Why can't I think of it? With the Wonder Woman origin island.
Lost
Themyscira,
Paradise or
right?
something. Themyscira.
Paradise Island or some shit.
Paradise Island. Yeah.
Themyscira.
Paradise Lost
Themyscira.
is the
Yeah,
TV
Paradise
show that's going to be based in Themyscira.
Yeah, but it's not going to deal with anything about the other movies because it's like happens hundreds of years before Wonder Woman or something like that. So like, there's no way that it relates back to anything that the other movies are doing. Which again is fine.
Who cares about Themyscira if it's not about Wonder Woman? That's like her background. That's it.
That's the only reason it matters.
Yeah.
So
at least in the like larger DC narrative, anyway.
Yeah.
do you think? I mean, if you're going to talk about age here, I know with the new like X-Men, how that's going, with Hugh Jackman coming back as a Wolverine. I mean, age doesn't really matter there. Do you think Henry Cavill will make a comeback eventually?
No.
If the casting just goes
I feel
absolutely
like
awful.
If they were going to bring
bridge.
back Henry Cavill, they would bring him back as like a cameo, as like a different universe as a Superman. If they do like the multiverse thing, then they can have him as like, oh, this is like my world Superman. Because with the
I don't think he would want to come back.
with the MCU and X-Men,
I don't know.
they're going to have Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in Deadpool 3, but they're going to make a whole new X-Men movie with a recasted Wolverine as the main MCU Wolverine,
Right. Most likely, anyway.
Nicolas Cage is Wolverine.
Oh, God.
Please no.
Oh, God.
Oh my god.
Damn,
And then-
I don't know. I just don't see where this all comes together. I don't.
Yeah.
But that's why James Gunn is the CEO. He's supposed to figure that shit out.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's doing a good job.
Another thing I wanted to bring up is that Matt Reeves' Batman, the one with Robert Pattinson, Part 2 is releasing in 2025. And they're like making a whole separate thing involving like the new Batman, the new Joker, those movies. They're going to be considered DC Elseworld movies. So any movie that's not part of the main DCU will be its own separate thing. And so I feel like movies that belong in there are going to have to be higher budget, as in like, the Joker made a lot of money. The Batman with Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson made a lot of money. So obviously those fit in that specific Elseworld universe. But I'm interested to see what other projects come up in the future that would fit in that own like Elseworld thing.
Yeah. But I feel like, again, it's going to be weird because I feel like they're just doing that because those were relatively well received.
Exactly.
So they feel like they have to continue it.
Right.
Wait, something actually worked? Yeah, let's get rid of it out of the continuity.
Exactly. That's what I mean. It's like I feel like they're just kind of pitching themselves into like having to do it. I don't know if that's true or not, but like, are they like they've been like touting this whole connectivity thing between all these new movies and TV shows,
Yeah.
and even like the animated stuff. So like, why would they even bother spending any effort on building something that's not related to that? Because they know like the long term game is to make a more cohesive story across all the different projects.
Yeah.
Here's
You know what I
my thing is obviously a lot of us who follow it and like Tusha, I know that you're hyped for it. You're a fan of it, so you're going to be keeping track of everything that James Gunn has been doing to try and bring it back together.
Yeah.
But my point is, how is the common person going to see this? Because they're not going to see all like the upcoming scheduled releases for DC. They're just going to have maybe gone and seen Black Adam, maybe Shazam, or one of the other like Batman vs Superman, something like that. And they're probably not going to have enjoyed it too much. They'll be like, it was kind of forgettable. How is James Gunn going to bring that attention into the mainstream back on DC rather than Marvel? And even Marvel is struggling because we're not going to talk about it now, but I know that Ant-Man's getting some mixed reviews at the box office right now, and we'll see where that goes. But even Marvel is struggling with that decay. How is DC going to handle that, do you think?
I mean, honestly, it's up to James Gunn. Like I said before, like the DC Elseworlds thing is going to be its own thing, and so I agree with you that like the common person is going to be confused as hell if they see two Batman movies like a release. Like, let's say Batman 3 with Robert Pattinson is releasing the same year as The Brave and the Bold, which is another Batman movie. They're gonna be like, what the hell? Why are there two Batman movies with two different actors? They're gonna be confused as hell. And so I feel like it's going to be difficult to make those separate because they're both Batman movies. But at the same time, it's like you're going to see these movies because you like the characters, and so you have to have some sort of like background knowledge as to why they're separate. Why they're separate actors and all that stuff. So
I feel like they need to crush it as much as we've been shitting on the Flash. Like, you have to crush it with the Flash and Superman, similar to how Marvel did with Iron Man 1 and 2.
yeah,
Like, those two movies like set the foundation for people to like be interested and understand the full story of when they brought in, Captain America, they brought in Thor, and then they did the whole Avengers thing. And like being able to like really crush on like DC's like phase 1. I don't know what they're calling their, like, if they have any of that stuff. Like, you need those to do well in order to set the foundation for the larger stories you want to tell after you've fleshed out all the characters in their own movies. But again, if you're gonna wait 3 years between movies, I don't know how the hell you do this. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Here's something
They're
interesting.
releasing Marvel movies every single year.
Just a quick hypothetical here for you guys to ponder over. Let's say that the DC does like amazingly well, right?
Mm-hmm.
What type of event do you think they could do that is like Marvel's Infinity War? Because everybody here loves Infinity War. So what do you think? What kind of event do you think they could hold for DC that would match the Infinity War?
comparing just the villains of Thanos, it's like the DC version of Thanos is gonna be Darkseid, right?
Yeah,
So
I was gonna say like
they try to do that with the Justice League movie that was released a few years ago, and I liked his introduction as Darkseid, but he wasn't a villain because like they didn't flesh out his character at all. He's just like a bad guy, like whatever. But if they build upon that story in the new DCU, I feel like the Justice League fighting Darkseid would be like the Infinity War of the MCU.
Yeah,
But that's
I was
just
gonna
my
agree
take,
with that
you know?
one.
That's what I was thinking as well. But I just feel like they're not going to do a second version of that. So I feel like, again, they're like, okay, well, he's off the table, most
Right.
likely.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest because I think my version of Infinity War for DC would be the death of Superman. I think the death of Superman, if it's done right, can be one of the most emotional and well written pieces in DC. And it still pisses me off that they messed it up. But I think if Gunn does redo that storyline in some way or another, because there's a lot of ways you can write that story. It's not the same each time it's written. If they can redo that and tell it right, that would be amazing in my eyes. Like, I would love that.
I could see that too.
Well, do you want to move over to, some...
I told you, that's the Marvel DC ledge that we gotta
gotta avoid.
skirt around.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you fall into the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I just love talking about Marvel and DC, so I can talk about it for hours and hours on end.
I know, we can.
Yeah. All right, yeah. So
I know we're already at
there was
45
actually
minutes.
a really cool event that's going on right now in Steam, and it's called this thing. It's called Next Fest, And for anybody that wants to see some of the upcoming games that are going to be launching on Steam, you can go on Steam right now. I think it goes through the 14th, or whenever these clips go up on YouTube or socials.
13th.
The 13th? Okay, it's the
Pacific.
13th. And you can basically play demos of any of the different games that they have on this event. And
That's
there's also
dope.
a bunch of live streams from the creators and different content creators on those games. And personally, the two that I actually know are Darkest Dungeon 2, which I have been waiting forever to come out on Steam because I don't want to buy it on Epic Games. It got the exclusivity deal on Epic, which kind of irritated me because it launched a bit earlier than it should have. So I'm waiting for it to launch on Steam. That's going to be coming in the next few months. And
Yeah,
then
May
Dark
8th.
and Darker, which is super hype by a lot of people I know because it's that what's it called? It's a Tarkov-esque game, but set in medieval times. So you basically have a team of 4, and you have like bows, wizards, and swords and
Oh, that's
stuff.
cool.
And you go in and you try and get loot, and there's like different types of mythical creatures in there with you, as well as like other people trying to stab you in the back and take all your loot.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people play it. It's really
The
cool.
game looks really cool. I
Yeah.
agree with Connor on this
I'm
one.
down to play that. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
it looks super toxic. I know people are going to be super scummy in that game, but it looks really fun.
Yeah, there's no release date on that yet, though, but something that'll be really cool, I think.
Yeah, but this event is a lot of smaller indie games. So if any of you guys are in the field for those types of unknown gems or hits, like you should definitely check out that list because there's a few really, really good ones on there. I only know those two. The rest are things I haven't even heard about. So definitely check it out and see what's new.
Sick.
Yeah, I know there's one game I wanted to add to that with Connor. If anybody's ever played Kingdom 2 Crowns, I know Connor's been playing it for a lot longer than I have, but there's one called Sons of Valhalla that's also included in the demos, and it's kind of like the side-scroller base building game, and it's set in the Viking Age. It actually looks pretty cool, too. It's got a little more enhanced like rendering and graphics for it, like the buildings are bigger, but if you like side-scrolling games like Kingdom 2 Crowns, I would highly suggest checking this one out, too.
Nice.
Cool.
Well, game that we were hyped about and has actually finally come out is Harry Potter, and it still has some controversy to it, which happened before. We didn't really know about it until now. Yeah, I'm sure some of the people in the audience might know about this, but obviously J.K. Rowling has become more of a controversial figure in recent history, and this has translated over to people kind of wanting to boycott the game. I don't know if I know we talked about it a little bit, but I don't know if you guys knew about it before this. Basically, the game doesn't really have anything to do with J.K. Rowling. They're not even associating with her. I know we're not going to talk about anything like controversial here for this, but general consensus is that she's not associated with the game, but a lot of people wanted to boycott it anyway. So there's that. But we've seen that the game has gotten a lot of really good reviews. We don't care about any of the controversial stuff. We're just trying to play good games. So definitely going to check it out, see if it's worth all the hype. I know Noah's got it already downloaded, and he's hyped to play it. So just thought you might want to clue everybody in on what's going on with that.
Yeah, definitely. And like Connor said, we're pretty much just here to play games. Again, we don't really follow a lot of this stuff. We just saw it pop up in our news feeds this morning when the game got dropped for those that pre-ordered the deluxe edition. So we're gonna give it a playthrough. We've seen some gameplay already from some people that got to play some early access versions of the game, and just about all of them have been super positive. There's only been like a few things like around like lighting bugs or just some like small glitches, but none of us have actually gotten in there yet and actually played it. So those might have been cleaned up already with like the full release, or I should say like the pre-release of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But everything has been super positive, so I guess no reason to be overly concerned. But nobody's necessarily played through the full story quite yet and been able to like actually show it in entirety. I think there's been a few people who have had access to play the entire story, but have only been able to share so much. But
yeah, and by the time these videos drop, I'm sure there'll be a lot more general consensus. What we've seen so far is leaning around 85% higher on critical rating, which is
Yeah.
really good. So
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah.
stoked for this game. Again, this is the biggest
definitely a
game
cool
of the week
game.
for sure. But
Hell yeah.
yeah, a lot of
anything else
hype
you guys
stuff
wanted to
coming
chat
out.
about?
I was actually thinking that 2023 was going to be a lot less hype than what was coming out before, because we had the whole Elden Ring, Horizon Dawn, and God of War stuff. But no, I've actually been pleasantly surprised with some of the stuff that's been coming out. So
Yeah, first few months have been big already.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alrighty. Well, thank you everybody for joining. Like Hunter said at the beginning, if you guys did enjoy the podcast, you guys enjoyed the content we put out, please hit that subscribe button. Yeah, hit the bell to get any notifications when we do drop podcasts. Also, we do post clips on our socials daily. So again, if you don't want to check in and listen to 50 minutes to an hour long podcast every week, you can get those 1 minute short bits in your social feeds. So give us a follow on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook. But we'll see you guys next week, and peace out, guys.
Yeah, thank
Peace.
you. Peace.